Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, Coach Patrick Precourt here. Welcome to week 2 of Results Now 2.0. And in this week, really, we're laying out. Last week, we laid out the foundation for the program. This week, we're actually laying out the goals, right? What we're striving to achieve. So this is really cool. There's a process to it, as with all of this. It's done very intentional with purpose. So please sit down, enjoy. And of course, as always, your feedback is always appreciated along the way here. But let's rock and roll. So, I guess what we'll start with here, kind of, is the rules of a goal, if you will, right? These would be the characteristics of a goal is probably the best way to define it, the best way to put it. So you have some way to bracket whether or not a goal is even a good goal. You've heard me talk about my ideas of the guru goal, the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal, and how there's a time and a place for a goal like that, but oftentimes it does more harm than good, and oftentimes we create these goals that we don't even believe in because they are too big, hairy, and audacious, and therefore we never even start pursuing. We just don't buy into it, right? And then we go down that path of committing something to ourselves, not following through, not completing it, and then ultimately doing more harm than good, and that we continue the process of kind of self-deception to where we don't trust ourselves anymore. Ouch, right? So, even if you're in a state like that right now, not a problem, because we can earn that trust back. And by following these simple steps that I'm going to share with you before we actually get to the goals themselves, right? If your goals meet these criteria, you'll earn the right to trust yourself back. Cool. So number one, you can write these down, and I'll see if I can provide a list of these to download for you as well. Right. Number one, be really specific. Define with absolute clarity what your goal is. I use the example of an address, and a map and trying to get from one place in a country to another all the time, because it's easy to understand. But if you're sitting wherever you're sitting at, and I said, hey, come visit me. You're like, oh, okay, Pat, where do you live? I live in Connecticut. Well, if that's all I gave you, you could get close, but not close enough. You'll never actually get here because all you know is that I live in Connecticut. It's not specific enough, right? It's not clear enough. If I said I live in a town called Cromwell, Connecticut, awesome, you'll get closer, but you still won't get here. And even if you drove right to my house, you wouldn't know you're there because you didn't define it well enough. You didn't have the address, right? So until I give you my actual address, you wouldn't be able to get here. And a goal is no different, right? So it's so important that we really give a definition, a clarity as to what the goal is. And the more specific you can be, right, the more likeliness you'll get there. Is that cool? Awesome. Number two, whatever the goal is, right, make sure process towards it and progress towards it is measurable, and that you record the progress or the measurements, right? Determine how you're going to measure and record the process along the way, so that you don't wait till you're destined time to check and see if you've made it or not. There in some industries they call them lagging indicators and leading indicators. Leading indicators would be the progress that you make along the journey, and the lagging indicator would be the result of the journey, right? So in weight loss, progress would be you're measuring calories in, calories out. You're measuring weight loss daily. You're measuring a commitment to a workout program on a daily basis. Things like that. And then the after effect, the one you'd be measuring, is the results of all of that, right? So it's important that you make it measurable and that you record the measurements on a daily basis. You got to keep track of it. If you don't keep track of it, man, it's so easy to get off base and just not do your job, right? Next, write down what I call the tangibles and the intangibles. The things that you can feel, touch, see, smell, sound, taste, all that, right? Boom. But then the things not so much. And there are things that fall in the intangible space that contribute to whether or not we're going to succeed in our goal. A lot of that has to do with us, right? What's going on with us. So just keep that, there's a mindset aspect to this that's got to kick in. If you lack discipline, right? then maybe that's something that should be a part of these recordable, measurable pieces here as you're working towards your goal. That makes sense? Next, add an agreement to it, a personal commitment to the goal. Write a promise to yourself, and then loop back on your core values. We did the core values the first week here, right? Hold yourself accountable to your core values. Write a commitment to yourself, right? And use the core values to enforce the commitment. We haven't done building a personal code yet, but we'll get to that. Those are kind of the laws that enforce the core values, right? But go ahead and write it down. Put it on paper. Put it up on your wall. After all, I mean, I doubt you'd be going after these goals, these outcomes, these results if it didn't mean something to you. Well, treat it as if it means something to you. Make it real. Let everybody see what the commitment to yourself is, because it matters that much, right? Start treating it that way. Next here, let's put a time block on it, right? A specific date that the goal will be achieved by. See, we typically as human beings will take up all the space that's given to us. Physical space, time, space, whatever you want to do, right? You know, it's kind of like, hey, I need a bigger closet to store, for all my stuff. Well, your little closet's full. Then you get a big closet, and shortly thereafter, your big closet's full. Why? Well, because we'll swell into the space given to us, and time is no different. So if you don't put a timeline on it, guess what? We'll continue to take all the time in the world not to achieve our goal. Put a time on it. Write that on that personal commitment to yourself. Make sure you're well aware of it, right? And hold yourself accountable to it, okay? Make this matter. As far as I said the big, hairy, audacious goal, the challenge I find with those goals is people set goals that are unrealistic. And I don't like that word realistic, because I don't think we should be realistic, but we do need goals to be challenging yet achievable. We got to be able to believe in the goal itself. If you've never made consistently $100,000 a year, and you tell me, Pat, I want to make $2, $3, $4, $5 million this year, I'm okay with that. I'll get behind you. I'll even build a plan for you. And I'll coach you through, and I'll be your accountability partner. Because I know it's doable. But do you believe in it? Because if you don't believe in it, it ain't going to happen. You follow me on that? We've got to earn our right to believe. So as you set the goals, make sure they're challenging, they're uncomfortable, they're beyond your comfort zone. There's something you haven't done before. There's something you desire, right? But make sure they're also believable, achievable as far as you're concerned, okay? Pat, I've never been there before, but I believe I got what it takes to get there, okay? Next is the why, right? And this is an important one. This is the juice that gets us through the challenges. This is the part that fuels us over the desire to quit. This is the one that, when confronted with obstacles, gives us the authority, the power, the control, the commitment, right? To power through. You've got to have a strong why, a reason behind why you want the goal. Now, it goes deeper than that, though. Got to keep in front of you the why, to the degree that you appreciate that if you do not continue, when you want to quit right now, you are conceding. You are making an active decision to give up that why. You're walking away from it. You're quitting. But don't anesthetize that. Don't forget about what that is. Be really aware of what it is you're quitting and giving up. And remember, man, every time we quit, we give up on ourselves, we make it that more freaking difficult to ever get that back. Right? And then a final little mind tweak I always use here, right? It's just a question to ask. What am I giving up in life by continuing to choose to stay where I am? Ouch. What am I giving up as I continue to choose to stay exactly where I am right now. Ouch. That one I know doesn't feel good, right? But again, it's easy for us when things don't go perfect, when things don't go as planned, to distract ourselves away so we don't feel that pain of quitting. And that's why it's so important to throw it back out there if it matters. Guys and gals, that's goal setting. I also included, right, a little piece for you here, which will be in your site. And the way this works here, the top line here, we choose out of the integrity wheel exercise, right, the 3 areas that we're lacking the most. You don't have to do it this way. You can pick and choose how you want to prioritize, but this often gives you just an easy way to disseminate what's most important right now. Write down the 3 areas that are lacking the most, right? Then, underneath there, write down 3 to 5 potential goals per each one of these, right? That would make sense to you. And if you don't come up with 5, I mean, 3 is probably a better number, but go ahead and write them down. So now we got, 9 to 15 different goals here. Now, evaluate this entire pool of goals and determine which 2 or 3 have the biggest impact on your life right now. And that'll leave you with 2 or 3 solid goals that are worth your commitment, discipline, focus, digging in, right? They're worth going after. Apply these same rules to them. Make sure it's up on your board why it matters to you. Remind yourself all the time that if you do quit, that you're committing to staying exactly where you are right now. Awesome, guys, gals. We'll see you in the next video. Cheers.